Hey, ladies and gentlemen, bosses and cousins, in this episode of Genesis Labs, we're going to talk about something that doesn't normally get talked about all that often. We're going to talk about creating a platform or a direct response brand using video and why that's so critical for the longevity of your business and in order to create an immediate message and benefit for the customers the first time they watch your video. This is going to be a comprehensive episode. You're not going to want to miss it, so stay tuned for this episode of Genesis Labs.
Exciting. Welcome back. So in this episode, we're going to be going over how to create a platform or a brand with video using direct response marketing. So we've got a really good mind map here for you. We're going to go through all of these things for you right now, so we'll jump right in.
Yeah, baby, let's get them.
Let's pop this boss vision into presentation mode.
There
and
we
that's
go.
this one right here.
Well, next one.
There we go.
There we go. Boom!
All right, as we said, creating a platform or a brand for direct response marketing using video. So in this video, you're going to learn how to use a two-part copywriting process that creates a point of contact, sales, and traffic. And what's the difference between a platform and normal branding?
Yeah, well, I think that's a pretty good question to start with. So normal branding is something that you are accustomed to seeing in what's called an institutional ad on television. So that's Coke is it, right? Have a Coke and a smile, and
yeah, big brands. Yeah,
big brands. That's right. So what does Pepsi stand for? Now, even Pepsi actually started coming around to the idea of campaigns that were DR based. Remember the Pepsi Challenge?
Yep, the choice of a new generation.
That's right.
They were alternate Coke opportunities.
You've got companies like Apple. Apple is all about, what do they say, think different. There's no direct response benefit there. There's no outcome for the customer. Usually institutional brands or general advertising, normal brand advertising, is about the process that the customer goes through and doesn't really talk about the outcome. Now, what we have to do, since we are usually advertising in order to create a customer action, what we want to do is create a platform, okay? And the platform is designed for an immediate consumption from the viewer, and they know immediately what this product or service, whether it's information or a hard good, what is the outcome going to be for me when I use this thing? And that's really the beginning of your platform.
It's more explicit about the features and benefits and the outcome, where the big brands are more about identification.
Yeah.
Apple, think different. Hey, you're with us. Or Coke is it, the choice of a new generation for Pepsi, those types of things. Where
So what was the one company, Fly the Friendly Skies?
Delta.
Yeah, right. Fly the Friendly Skies. So first of all, that's a lie. So don't lie about your branding. But
Alec Baldwin agrees.
But at the end of the equation, the primary difference for us is, while it's fun to come up with a tagline and a slug line and a logo and all those other things, what you really want to do is serve the best of both worlds. You want to be identifiable because of what you look like, what you sound like, what you stand for, but you also want to generate an outcome for the customer in that message. And that's what we are affectionately calling a platform. This is the thing from which you stand on that demonstrates everything that's good about what your products do for the customer and also helps them identify you and your company and what you're all about.
And what we're going to see is it goes away from 30-second commercials, which is what branding is about, and it goes more into messaging and demonstrating product and getting people to get fascinated about a product and get a real revelation about what the product is, so then they can later identify with the features and benefits.
Yeah, that's right. And so one of the, I think, the most important things that you want to start off with when you're doing any kind of advertising, whether it's paid or you're spending time doing search engine optimization or doing social media type stuff, is that platform communications always have to create a measurable ROI.
Right.
And so this isn't just about, hey, yeah, I remember you from something I saw somewhere else. No. You want to measure, was there a click? Was there a share? Was there an opt-in? Was there a transaction of some sort of value either to you or for the customer?
So take a look at Geico, for example.
Okay.
Brand, right?
Yes.
They have some benefits. Their taglines, 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on cars.
So this is a hybrid, and that's their platform is, Geico stands for, besides the brand part, which is the lizard dude, he doesn't have
and the
ears.
caveman. And
Right. Their platform is spend 15 minutes and save 15% on your car insurance.
Yeah, but they'll do something that we definitely don't want to start with in our company and put a billboard on the side of the highway, because that's branding and it's reminding people, but there's no measurable ROI in that types of marketing.
Right.
How do they know that that billboard brought in any money? There's no way to measure that, and we're not going to start our businesses there. We're going to go a little bit more direct.
Right, so we want ROI, but if you do it right, if you think about your platform, that can lay the foundation for building a household name.
That's the end game,
Yes.
right? Is how do we become that Geico from there? Okay, so moving on, nothing builds a platform and a brand better than customers who have experience living in the promised land because of using your product. What does that mean?
Well, you want to base your product's message on the outcome for the customer, right? And so the customer has used your product and they have a certain outcome, which is the desirable outcome. We call that living in the promised land. So think about all of the benefits of your product and what are the benefits of those benefits. So we talk about this all the time, the skin acne.
The proactive. Yes.
Right. So the benefit is it clears up your skin. But what's the benefit to that? Well, the benefit to that is you living in the promised land. And, I said all the time, you get more dates, you get better jobs,
Confident,
whatever.
yeah.
You're more confident, so you're a happier person. You're not so melancholy. Whatever the case is, the point is, using customers, right, in terms of your marketing and using outcomes, generating outcomes, which is essentially what Mike and I talk about all the time, which is making your platform based on a story of events, is where you want to start, right? Because your brand will eventually stand for a lifestyle choice or what it's like to be, a bud guy or, the coolest guy in the world, right? The most fascinating man in the world.
Yeah,
Is that
Dos
what
Equis?
it's Dos Equis, yeah.
Something like that.
Right,
yeah.
sometimes.
Which we used to compete for. Coolest guys on the planet.
I don't always do training, but when I do it under boss vision.
All right, so that's where we start.
That's it.
Okay, so direct response brands do this. So
So this is our
this is
right
our goal. Yeah, this is our goal. We're direct response brands.
So create a platform based on an explicit benefit, process and result versus a household name. So what does that mean, process and result? Well, we're going to talk about that more in a second.
And we're going to give you some examples.
But there's our great way to name your platform. Not necessarily your company name, but your platform is to incorporate some sort of process of what it is that they're doing and a result. And we'll actually do an example here right now.
So the George Foreman grill, it has an explicit benefit, and that's low-fat cooking. That's the process.
Right.
Remember we said the process and the result. So the process is low-fat cooking. When you saw the commercials with George Foreman,
Big George,
he didn't simply have something that was like, hey, here's this cool appliance. He had a direct benefit, and the process was that it would melt the fat away. So that was a process. The result was a healthier you and family. So that was the result. So let's take a look over here. Over time, your sales and happy customers will later create a platform that allows sales on a trusted name.
Well, so now it becomes anything that George Foreman slaps his George Foreman label on is become a trusted name. So he started off with like the little tiny one that he sold on an infomercial.
Like us, direct marketing through the process and the benefit.
That's right. So he wasn't trying to build a brand, but now he's in Walmart and it says George Foreman on it.
He's in Target. He got the end result there by creating.
And he's created like the little backyard barbecue griller. I mean, there's George Foreman utensils now. There's George Foreman spices. So
now he can do what the other companies could, but he couldn't start there.
He leveraged the brand. That's right. Okay, so now let's talk about something that we don't want to do, even though Black & Decker is a fine manufacturer of home improvement quality tools. Is there anything there that immediately pops to your mind when you're thinking about Black & Decker?
No, not for me. Other than that, they're a trusted brand that's been around for a while. Other people have had them. You've had previous appliances. They last 7 years. They work. So Black & Decker doesn't do infomercials. They have the ability to leverage off other brands that are doing the direct marketing, proving a concept, and then there's a George Foreman grill on television, and then when you go to Target, before George Foreman could be there, they could have competitive appliances simply by creating
this
a
Black
low-fat
& Decker
grill.
brand. Yeah.
That's it.
And so Black & Decker got it started in the tool market, and then eventually you can buy like a toaster oven from them. So they were able to leverage their brand, but they took a much longer, much more expensive path, and it was based on, I can't remember what their first tool is, but I'll always remember that George Foreman started with a grill.
And his personality.
Yes.
And all of his 7 kids named George. People know his story,
and
right?
George and George. Yeah, right. That was partying to get to know him. So,
moving on.
That's right.
Okay. All right, so here it's as simple as consistently communicating an explicit outcome that you know your audience desires. So we have to first know what is the mass desire that motivates your audience. Once you know that, you communicate that explicitly to them.
Right. And so we know that every engagement has to be, with your audience, has to be outcome based. So you don't want to show up and say, this product is great, or I'm great, or you want to show up and say, I have something that you can have.
Tangible.
Tangible, right? Melting the fat, which implies fat loss, which implies a healthier lifestyle.
And that's the promised land, right?
That's
it's
right.
not that you're going to enjoy the taste better and that you're getting less fat. It's a healthier you and family.
Now, here's something that's interesting about George Foreman. George Foreman's a big guy, but he was also a professional boxer, world-class professional boxer. And so just that, he didn't have to be this skinny dude. He just wanted to talk about health and, hey, I'm an athlete and this stuff is important to me. But the bottom line is, there was never a point where it was, hi, I'm George Foreman, and I'm just going to talk to you.
No,
and
those commercials started showing him knocking people out.
That's right.
So it's implied that he's healthy already because he was 43 years old going out and knocking out 20-year-olds.
That's right. And so here's the point. Do not communicate feel-good messages. They didn't communicate feel-good messages, George has got a new life. No, they said, look, they showed the outcome. He's a professional boxer. They didn't show the big story, rise to power. It's like, if you want something like this, here's my secret, this little griller that melts off all the fat.
Yeah.
Which I feel a little dirty saying because we know that it's not about fat, but you know what? He tapped in to the audience's desires and the popular culture at the time, which was low fat equals good.
Yeah, and if you actually study that, they tested a lot of different things, and what they found out was all that leading in with his previous stuff and his knocking people out, and 3 minutes of the infomercial, people were dropping right out. Right after that, they realized that that wasn't the benefit for people. They needed to get into what the mass desire of the market was, and that was getting healthier.
Yep.
So that's the point. Don't communicate these feel-good messages. Get explicit with the benefits.
With the benefit.
Okay, so
we do want to communicate social proof messages, okay? And so social proof messages, just for by way of review, a social proof message is simply bringing your customers who have gotten some value, or the marketplace that has gotten some value, especially when you're an info marketer, right, and you give results in advance in your messages, you want people to come right out and say, right there as part of your communications, this is great, this had a great impact on me, thank you very much for that, I see the value in this, wow, right?
Yeah,
that's important.
And as the brand continues to grow, you want to start measuring those numbers, like over 7,000 sold, over 50,000 sold, over 100,000 sold, because once something continues to sell, it means all those people can't be wrong, and it's continuing to sell because the results that it's promising are actually happening.
Right. That wraps up this segment. In the next segment, we're going to continue talking about building your platform, your direct response platform, and we're going to go through something called the name game, which should give you the basis of how to start creating that platform by jamming together what they call it a mashup, 2 ideas that can help you position your product to your market.
We hope you enjoyed that video on direct response branding and how to use it in your marketing with video. If you want to learn more branding and how to use video for branding, there's a link below this video where you can get access to more training. So take a look at it now, and there's some pretty good stuff we think you'll be pretty excited about.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thanks.